Okay, let's be real. Have you ever sat through a meeting and felt like you needed a secret decoder ring? Yeah, me too. Today, we're going to cut right through all that noise. We're diving into the radical power of simple, clear speech. And trust me, it's a superpower we all need. Right, so I'm going to read this out loud. Our core mission is to actionize a paradigm shift by leveraging synergistic frameworks to optimize our value add proposition. Any idea what that means? Yeah, if you're scratching your head right now, don't worry, you are so not alone. What does that even mean? I bet it does. We hear stuff like this all the time. In meetings, in articles, it's like this wall of words just gets thrown up, and it's basically designed to keep us out. It's a super common experience, but here's the thing. It really doesn't have to be this way. All right, first up, let's talk about the problem. We're going to take a little trip into what I call the jargon jungle. You know, that dense, confusing forest of buzzwords we're all trying to hack our way through. Now, let's be clear about something. Jargon isn't, inherently evil. Think about it. If you've got a group of surgeons in an operating room or maybe some software engineers trying to fix a bug, that special language is actually super efficient. It's a shorthand. But the problem starts when we take that language outside of that tiny specialized group. Suddenly, it stops being a tool for clarity and becomes a barrier for everyone else. Which, of course, raises a big question, right? Why do we do this? Why do people use all this confusing language when they know it just pushes people away? Well, that gets us right to the heart of the matter, something I like to call the complexity myth. There's this idea baked into our culture that if something sounds complicated, the person saying it must be a genius. We hear someone using big, fancy words, and we just automatically think, wow, they must be brilliant. But here's a little secret. A lot of the time, the opposite is true. Complicated language is often just a crutch. It's a way to hide that you don't really understand something, or to make a pretty simple idea sound way more important than it is. So what happens when we do that? When we hide behind all this complexity, what's the actual real-world cost? Well, jargon doesn't just confuse people. It actively builds a wall. We can call it the connection barrier. And you can really see the two paths you can take here. Look, on one side, you've got jargon. What does it do? It obscures, it confuses, and it makes your audience feel totally left out. But on the other side, you have clarity. It creates understanding, it builds connections, and it makes people feel included, even confident. It's literally the difference between building a wall and building a bridge. And hey, this isn't just a feeling. The data is pretty darn clear on this. Just look at this chart. When you use jargon, audience understanding is, well, it's in the basement. But when you use simple, clear speech, it skyrockets. Your message doesn't just get heard, it actually lands. It gets understood. Okay, so we've spent some time digging into the problem. We get it. Jargon is a barrier. Now, let's talk about the solution. Let's flip this around and explore the incredible, almost radical power of just being simple. All right, check this out. Here's a typical business plan, but it's written in the complex way. Synergize core competencies, leverage bleeding edge paradigms, operationalize scalable solutions. It kind of sounds impressive, I guess, but it's also totally meaningless, right? It's just a fog of corporate speak. But now, look at this. This is the exact same plan, just translated into plain English. 1. Find what our team does best. 2. Use the best new ideas and tools. And 3. Create a plan that can grow with us. See that? The difference is night and day. This is direct, it's honest. And you know what? It sounds way more confident. It doesn't need to hide because the ideas are actually strong. That is real power. And this really gets to the core of it all. Seriously, anyone can make something sound complicated. That's the easy part. The hard part, the part that takes real expertise, real mastery, is explaining it simply, making the complex easy to understand. That's the real sign of a genius. Which brings us to our final and maybe most important point. If you take away just one thing today, let it be this. Mastery is clarity. And I really want to be clear here. This isn't about dumbing down your ideas. Not at all. It's the opposite. It's about elevating them. It's about showing your audience respect. Respecting them enough to do the hard work of taking your big, sophisticated ideas and making them so clear, so simple, that they become elegant and powerful. So I'm going to leave you with a challenge. Think about your job, your passion, that next big project you've got. What's one complex idea that you're dealing with right now? Just one. And how could you make it radically simple starting today?
Give it a try. The answer just might change how you communicate for good.